Hi, welcome to this game review. We'll have a look at a game in which black won a piece quite early on, and then he had to realize his advantage of the piece, which he did quite successfully, though he did not manage to win because he was playing a 10+0 game, which is basically blitz, so he basically ran out of time while checkmating his opponent, which shouldn't really happen in a real chess game. In OTB chess at least, we always have increment, so we should play accordingly online to be able to play in the same time controls in real chess games. So 10+0 is blitz, we should play 15+10 or longer. So let's have a look and try to learn something. So it started as a fool's mate. Black defended quite well, knight c6 and g6, this is the standard reply. And after knight f6, black is just better because white is not developing his pieces, he is wasting time. And now his queen is in the way of the knight, and also it might get attacked. So black plays bishop g7, which is natural. The engine prefers knight d4 and d5, which is a bit more aggressive. And here black takes the whole center, for example here. And black is doing extremely well. He can play c6 or c5, wherever he wants. He can continue with castling, and black is just better. But this is fine as well. Bishop g7, now knight d4, h6. So here black kicks around the bishop and plays d6, which is fine to defend the pawn, but even better was to play more aggressively d5, and this defends the pawn as well. Here, if the bishop takes after dc, the knight is protected by the queen, and also if white takes here, now we can take back, and this pawn is also guarded by the bishop. So d6 is a bit soft, but it's fine as well. f3, c6, this is fine. And black plays knight d7 here, which is already a bit strange to move back with the same piece again. Again, when we play c6, it usually means we're trying to play d5, so there's no reason not to play d5 here and take the whole center. But okay, knight d7. Here white gives up his bishop pair. It might make sense to double the opponent's pawns, but this doesn't really do anything as the pawns are not ever weak. And black now has the bishop pair. Also white's pawns are on light squares, which means the dark squares are very weak. a3, waste of time. Castles, knight e2. And black plays g4, which is a bit beside the point. Black should continue developing. He should get rid of his bishop on c8, or at least try to open the position in a more concrete fashion, maybe prepare f5, or the simplest would be d5. This is sort of a pawn sacrifice, so not that obvious, but the point is that white cannot really take because of the fork on a5. So this is a small tactic which allows d5 to be played, but this is not necessary. We can also just develop the knight and play bishop e6 or f5 to develop the bishop on f5. After g4, here white could just take this pawn, or he could just develop, and this move g4 didn't really do much for black. He's only opening up his own king, and it's not clear what he is trying to achieve here. But after knight d4, this is quite simple. Black just takes the free piece, and now the game is completely over from an objective standpoint. Black has bishop for nothing. And now the standard procedure is just to exchange everything and go into an endgame. So fg happened, black developed his queen, then went to h3. This is quite aggressive, nice way to play. c3, and here black finds a nice move, queen g2, not moving the attacked piece, attacking the rook on h1, rook f1, and now black moves the bishop. He could also try to give up the bishop to get an attack, but unless we calculate this well, there's no reason to do this. So bishop g7, white gets to exchange queens, so he at least will not get checkmated. And a few moves later, we see white has two pawns for the piece, which will not really be enough, especially with his structure. And here black had a very simple continuation, which is to take this bishop, which not only exchanges pieces but also ruins white's structure further. And in general, we want to exchange pieces when we have more of them, so that our 2 pieces against 1 will have a bigger effect than 3 against 2. due to simple math of ratios. So rook e8. Now white gets to move his bishop. Again, this is of course completely winning, but we have to develop the pieces and exchange something. Bishop e6 comes to mind. Okay, rook e7. This is fine. Now the bishops get raided. d4. White gets some compensation for his piece. Since this bishop is kind of blocked and the knight is also not great, black will have to open up the position somehow. Maybe with b5 and b4, maybe with d5 in the center. So white plays h4, and black continues maneuvering. He should probably at some point play d5, with the point of e5, f6, opening up the position like this. Since he does have more pieces, usually opening up the position will be in his favor, if the pieces are ready, which they are. h5, black is trying to get some kind of square. Again, maybe we should just play d5. If white ever takes, then the rooks are opened. But h5 happened. After g5, knight g4, black eventually got some square. b3, b6, a few moves pass. d5, black moves. And here black got to exchange some more pieces, take back with the bishop. And now black's advantage lies in the fact that he has a bishop. So to win the game, he has to somehow use his bishop, right? And the only pawn break to open the position at this point is f6, so it makes sense to do f6. Either prepare it with king g7 and just play f6 to open this rook towards the g3 pawn, and also just get rid of the pressure on f7. Or even simpler, we can just play f6 now, with the point that if he takes rook f7, white doesn't have enough pieces to keep his pawn, so we will exchange rooks as well. And with these pawns here, black will win easily. But bishop g7, and black takes, plays bishop d4 back, so some moves pass. White gives up the pawns himself, so this kind of makes it easy. And here he even gives up a rook. So from here the game is not very interesting. This is a rook endgame with a rook up for black. He manages to activate his king and his rooks. And so the game is basically over here, and it's not interesting to see the rest of the game. And eventually black did not manage to checkmate in time, though of course this is completely winning. So usually we should play with normal time controls, where we can win such positions, because of course black can win it. Maybe he was just not fast enough, which is really not an issue in chess. Speed is not one of the main components of great chess players.